Have you ever wondered about your blood flow distribution when you're at rest compared to when you're exercising? Well, so have I, and I found something that I want to share with you guys. So this comes from the Essentials of Exercise Science for Fitness Professionals. It's by ACE, and they've done studies, and so that's the chart where I'm pulling this information from. So I'm gonna read some of the biggest ones off here. So when you are at rest, then 15 to 20% of your blood flow is going to your muscles. But when you start to exercise, when you're doing maximal exercise, so you're doing high intensity, so you're doing, well above 70% of your VO2 max, then you're actually getting 84% of your blood to your muscles. So that just went from 15 to 20% to 84%. That's huge. And my biggest question when I read that was, whoa, well, you've got to pull blood from some other place, so where's it being pulled from? And of course, I thought it's being pulled from your intestinal type muscles, your gut muscles, which is made of smooth muscle tissue. And that is mostly where it's being pulled from, but the numbers are quite fascinating. So when you're at rest, your liver is receiving 27% of your blood distribution, and at maximal exercise, it's receiving 2%. So that just went down 25%. And it's amazing how quick the body can make these changes, that if you get your heart rate up that fast, then boom, the body makes that change immediately because the body is very, very efficient. What's interesting to note here is that your heart has 4% of the blood distribution, and when you go to maximal exercise, it stays exactly the same. It's 4% before and 4% after. Your skin is really a variable one. In hot climates, then your skin blood flow might reach somewhere between 12 to 14% of blood flow, but in regular climates, then you're looking at anywhere from 6% before exercise when you're resting to only 2% blood flow in your skin when you're doing maximal exercise. And I've also seen that when I am in warm climates, then my skin will turn somewhat red when I'm exercising, and so that makes perfect sense. And whereas when there's cold climates, then sometimes my skin will just be more of kind of a pale white color when I'm doing maximal intensity exercise. Kidneys was a big shock for me. 22% of your blood is going to them before rest, which makes sense, but this is a big one here. It goes to 1% blood distribution when you go to maximal exercise. 22% to 1%. That's pretty staggering, and it makes sense if you know the science behind it and you know what happens to your body. But again, just hearing how big of a decrease or increase some of these things are is still pretty sobering. And then your brain, it goes from 14% before while resting, and then 4% blood distribution while maximally exercising. So next time you exercise, then you can think about that and think about exactly what you're feeling when you do anything that is very high intensity. If that is a high intensity on a weight, or if that is a high intensity with running, or whatever it may be, whatever you may be doing as far as resistance training or cardiorespiratory training. So you don't have a lot of blood going to your brain there, so you're kind of just laser focused right on one thing, and 84% of that blood is just being sucked up by the muscle right there, and that's pretty crazy. The human body, it's definitely worth the lifetime of investigation.